Top 8 WWE stars who aged badly, and 7 who still look great.
If you are brand new to our channel, we invite you to take a moment to subscribe. Just click on the lit red button as well as the gray bell. Why the bell? Well, it will let you know every time we post a new video.
15.
Aged badly, Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty will be best remembered in WWE for his time alongside Shawn Michaels as the Rockers before HBK turned on his longtime friend and kicked him through a barbershop window in one of the most iconic segments in WWE history. Jannetty has been wrestling ever since, even though it hasn't been on WWE TV. It seems that wrestling is the only thing that Marty wants to do with his life, and even now at the age of 57 he is still regularly part of a number of independent wrestling events. Marty has had his own fair share of struggles with addiction in the past, and it seems that these have taken their toll on him both physically and mentally. The above image was taken a few years ago, but shows that Marty is definitely no longer the young man that was once seen on WWE TV as part of the Rockers.
14.
14. Looks great, Lita. Lita is a WWE Hall of Famer and a former 4-time women's champion, and despite all of the struggles in her personal life she is still considered to be one of the best female wrestlers in WWE history. Lita may not have been a fan favorite when she was wrestling, but it seems that over the past few years she has become one of WWE's biggest female legends. Lita retired from in-ring competition back in 2006, but has still remained part of WWE's broadcast team, which is why she is still seen on WWE TV more than a decade after her retirement. Lita still looks as stunning as she did when she was wrestling full-time, and even at 42 years old, the former women's champion can still give many of the women in the company's locker room a run for their money. It seems that some women have just been gifted some incredible genetics.
13.
13. Aged badly, the Sandman. Hardcore wrestling fans will remember the Sandman for his stint in WWE as one of ECW's biggest legends. The Sandman has been wrestling for ECW for most of his life, but when WWE decided to reboot the show under a PG banner, Sandman was one of the ECW legends that the company decided to contact to make a return. Sandman didn't last long on WWE TV, perhaps because the ECW reboot was a complete failure, and has been almost forgotten at this point by many WWE fans. Sandman hasn't been forgotten, though. He has continued to wrestle on the independent circuit over the past few years, and even at 54 years old he is still able to maintain the physicality needed to wrestle at that age on that level. As well as a stint with WWE that ended back in 2007, Sandman has a brief stint in TNA in 2010, but after no showing at taping, he was never seen as part of the show again. 12. Looks great, Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon has literally been forced to grow up in the eyes of the WWE Universe after first being featured as a model for WWF merchandise when she was just 14 years old. Steph has since been featured in a number of prominent WWE storylines over the past few decades, and even ended up marrying her former on-screen husband Triple H. The daughter of WWE Chairman Vince McMahon is now the mother of 3 daughters herself, but has still managed to stay in incredible shape. Stephanie has been seen as a bad guy on WWE TV for the past few years, but it seems that no one can deny just how stunning she really is. The former women's champion often uploads videos of her workouts on her Instagram page, which could be one of the main reasons she continues to look so good, if she is working out at all hours of
11.
just incredible. Just incredible may not be as memorable as some of the legends on this list, but he is a former ECW original that many current WWE fans once saw as a hero. Credible has had his own fair share of issues over the past few years that have included an addiction that many thought he had finally been able to overcome. He returned to wrestling back in March, but wasn't the same star that he once was after growing older and struggling with addiction for so long. And it seems that he managed to fall back into this a few weeks ago when it was reported that he showed up to an independent event drunk and invaded the ring partway through the show when he was asked to leave. It seems that his past decade of abuse on his own body has finally caught up to him, and there's no doubting now that his in-ring career is probably over.
10.
10. Looks great, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is one of the biggest legends to still be wrestling in WWE currently after being part of the company for more than 2 decades. Jericho is a firm fan favorite, and as of yet, it is still unknown as to how he manages to juggle a family as well as touring with his band Fozzy, and a career with WWE at the highest level. It seems that Jericho is what many people would refer to as superhuman, and even though he has a lot of responsibilities in life, it seems that he hasn't allowed these to get to him at all. Instead, he's continued to work on his career and focus on ensuring that he has something to move on to when his wrestling career finally ends. At 47 years old, Jericho is about to step into one of the biggest matches of his career in a week's time, and still looks in
9.
9. Aged badly, Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts has had his own fair share of problems over the past few years, but that hasn't dulled the fact that he is a WWE Hall of Famer, and a legend to many of the WWE universe. Roberts was one of the greatest promo deliverers of his generation, and even though he didn't go on to win any championships in WWE, he is still seen as one of the greatest of all time. Roberts' abuse growing up forced him to become addicted to alcohol from a young age, something that has affected him throughout his life as well as being one of the reasons why his health has dipped over the past few years. Jake has recently been through a battle with cancer, something that he was cleared of a few years ago, and at the grand age of 62, he is finally being able to enjoy time with his family, which consists of 8 children and more than 10 grandchildren.
8.
8. Looks great, Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is one of the most decorated female wrestlers of all time, and even though she retired from WWE more than a decade ago, her 7-time women's championship record still stands in WWE. Trish left the company back in 2006 so that she could go on to marry her longtime boyfriend, and has since welcomed 2 children over the past few years. Trish is considered to be one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time, and despite the fact that she's welcomed children and mostly been seen as our mother over the past few years, she has still managed to remain in incredible shape, because she runs her own yoga studio, and it seems that this has allowed her to continue to look just as stunning as the WWE Universe remember her even at 42 years old. Trish is looking so good lately that she is one of the favorites to make a return to WWE as part of the Women's Royal Rumble match next month.
7.
7. Aged badly, The Undertaker. The Undertaker is one of the biggest legends that WWE has ever had. The Deadman has had a career in WWE at the highest level for almost 3 decades, and even though he has become a part-time star over the past few years as the longevity of his career has begun taking his toll, he has still remained a firm fan favorite. Undertaker is now 52 years old, and recently underwent hip surgery. He isn't the young man that could once throw himself around the ring anymore. Undertaker has attempted to dye his hair over the past few years to hide the fact that he is getting older, but he has still been able to put on some of the best matches that WWE have seen over the past few years. There are a number of images much like the above one of the Deadman that show that he is a mere mortal, and that time catches up with
6.
6. Looks great, Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon left WWE back in 2009, before he returned last year, to face The Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 32. Perhaps it was the time that Shane took away from WWE and was able to work in an office away from any physical disputes, or maybe it was the fact that he was able to take time away and spend it with his family. Either way, Shane seems to be in the best physical shape of his career. Shane is now just a few years shy of 50, and is still able to put on Hell in a Cell matches, and is willing to jump off the top of cells. Shane is the commissioner of SmackDown Live, and manages to perform on a regular basis along stars who are half his age. Shane looks incredible for his age, there's no doubting that. We just
5.
5. Aged badly, Scott Hall. Scott Hall will always be seen as one of the best heels of all time as Razor Ramon, but it seems that after his wrestling career came to an end, Scott Hall has had a number of problems in his personal life, and at one point Diamond Dallas Page had to step in to help Scott overcome many of his demons and his addiction. Hall is a WWE Hall of Famer, and someone that WWE has stood by over the past few years despite his problems. Hall turned 60 in 2018, and it seems that he is beginning to look every year of that age right now after a number of stints in rehab and attempts to overcome addictions that date back to the time he was wrestling for WCW. Hall still wrestles on the independent circuit on and off, but it seems that his career will never hit the heights that it once did in the 1990s again.
4.
4. Looks great, Mickie James. Mickie James made her WWE debut back in 2005, and over the past 13 years, the former Divas and Women's Champion has been performing at the highest level for both WWE and TNA. Mickie is one of the most talented female wrestlers of her generation, and even though her personal life has caused her a number of problems throughout her career, she has still been able to turn it around. Mickie returned to WWE full-time earlier this year as a wife and mother, and it seems that she is finally being taken seriously. Even though her age played a huge role in her feud with Alexa Bliss earlier this year, even Alexa admitted that Mickie looks absolutely incredible for her age. Mickie has been able to perform in a wrestling ring at the highest level for the past 13 years, which is something that not many other women can claim.
3.
3. Aged badly, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is widely considered to be one of the best wrestlers of all time, but it seems that even Shawn had to grow old at some point. Michaels retired from wrestling back at WrestleMania 26, and hasn't stepped back in a ring as a competitor since. Shawn has returned to WWE as a trainer and special guest referee, so that he can share his wealth of knowledge with many of the aspiring stars at WWE's Performance Center. Michaels is 52 years old. He isn't the youngster who took the WWE locker room by storm during the 1990s, or invaded WCW with D-Generation X during the same time period. It seems the strain of a career at this level, and his struggles with addiction in the 1990s have all started to take their toll on him. Michaels is a legend regardless of what he looks like, but it seems that over the past few years Shawn has really started to age rapidly.
2.
2. Looks great, Torrie Wilson. Torrie Wilson is one of the most memorable women's wrestlers of all time, despite never winning a championship during her lengthy WWE tenure. Torrie was easily seen as a fan favorite for most of her career. Since her WWE departure, Torrie has focused on fitness and working as an online instructor. It seems that this job change has allowed her to remain in incredible shape, and at 42 years old, Torrie is looking as though she is in much better shape than she once was when she was wrestling full-time. Torrie looks incredible, and it seems that spending time touring with WWE for a number of years was holding her back from a career that she was obviously always going to be much better at. Torrie has recently been a focus on the WWE network, so a return for her next month would also be interesting.
1.
1. Aged badly, Sable. Sable was once seen as one of the sexiest women on TV. She was the woman that men wanted to be with, and that women wanted to be. She had it all as a former two-time Playboy cover girl and former women's champion, but it seems that the saying about looks fading could hold some truth when it comes to Sable. Sable is currently married to Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, and it seems that she has avoided public events for a number of years. At 50 years old, she is a shadow of the women that once set the WWE universe ablaze. Sable was part of an era where looks meant everything to the WWE universe, but it seems the times have definitely changed since one of the most beautiful women to have ever stepped in a ring doesn't look like the same person anymore.
Yeah.